I thought it'd be really good to show you a typical Périgordin meal, the sort of meal that an ordinary family has on holidays, feast days, birthdays and things like that. So we found, in our usual way, by tripping around the place, we ran into somebody called Madame Moulin and her husband, Monsieur Moulin, who are farmers, and they open up their house from time to time for visitors to come and sample the simple country food of the region. Anyway, she's one of those ladies who's a bit of a tart, a bit precise, doesn't like film crews interrupting her work, which she takes very seriously. So I'm letting them get on with it while I'm just sitting here having a slight glass of wine, and later on, when she's ready, and if she's in a bit of a better mood, we'll try and get in and see exactly what she's doing. Husbands, please note the happy, acquiescent attitude of Monsieur Moulin, sitting here, pretending to be helping his wife making the soup. One word from her like, Henri, and he was there, obedient as anything. She made us this amazing soup. It's just sort of bacon, cabbage, water and onions, thickened with egg yolks. Looks absolutely appalling. You pour it over stale bread. Surprisingly enough, it tastes absolutely delicious.
It does not take an art to make this grand potage with onions of et beaucoup de cabbage, la 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 la.
In Périgord, they call this soup la touraine. Mrs. Beeton calls it soup for the poor and needy. However, it is very good. But much less good was this dreadful dish of stewed gizzards made with Monsieur Moulin's homemade red wine. It was foul, if you'll pardon the pun. What is particularly good, however, is the confit de canard. Wonderful pieces of duck preserved in its own fat, reheated in the oven till it's golden, crispy and fatty, and it's absolutely superb, but it's best in the winter. Okay, now look, what we're doing here is making what we call a very simple Périgord omelette of ceps, you see, wild mushrooms. Clive, come down and have a close look at these ceps which have been preserved over the winter in their own juices, and now they're being passed through the Qu'est-ce qu'il y a? Up.
Ça chauffe.
Je m'excuse, sorry about that. Look, right, we'll start again, okay?
Alors,
I've already had a row with the crew this morning. The lighting man isn't feeling very well. I'm trying to speak in 2 languages for 5 different people who don't understand any damn thing, and the fat's getting too hot. Right. Starting from the top, Clive, you like me, don't you? Stay with me nicely. These are ceps, wild mushrooms which have been preserved throughout the winter in their own juices in an airtight container. We've just put them into the oven with some goose fat and warmed them through. We've chopped into that some fresh garlic and some fresh parsley, and now, using the typical fat of the region, with the old dragon peering over my shoulder, which is goose fat, by the way, we put it onto the stove like that. Ça va maintenant? Ça va comme ça?
Ça va.
Bon.
Alors, faut battre.
Now, well, if you didn't know how to make an omelette, you wouldn't know now, because il faut battre, ça veut dire, that's to say you must beat the eggs. Well, we all know that. Okay, un peu comme ça. Right, now we've already put salt and pepper in. Ils ont déjà salé et poivré?
Oui. Alors, vous versez un peu, et avec la spatule, vous...
Oui. Okay, Clive, this is a very important bit. This is how to make an omelette.
Pas tout d'un seul coup. Voilà, comme ça.
Voilà.
Allez-y par là. Voyons voir.
And here we're going. We're making a fine, fluffy omelette. These are free-range eggs, by the way. Notice, pour over the little bits of liquid to the edge. Get it like that. Ça va?
D'accord, ça va.
Bon.
Alors, il faudra peut-être
now I've got to mix up
quelques ceps, voilà.
Quelques ceps into there. Some ceps, that means quelques ceps is some ceps.
Pas tous, parce qu'après il faudra faire une autre.
Oh yes, I'm not allowed to put them all in because this is for demonstration purposes only, and she wants to keep the ones for her own lunch.
Voilà.
Right, and it's like that. And we... Un peu plus?
Un peu plus, et puis après vous prenez l'assiette pour la retourner là.
D'accord. Mais il faut we must leave the omelette a little tiny bit runny in the middle, otherwise it won't be good enough. And we then just fold it.
Enfin, j'aurais pas fait comme ça, moi. Oh ben, ça va, oui. C'est pas mal.
I'd like her to come to England and cook a roast beef and Yorkshire pudding with my mother standing over her shoulder like that. Ça peut y aller ou pas?
La présentation est bonne. La présentation est bonne,
The presentation is good, mais ça manque quoi, alors?
C'est-à-dire, moi, j'aurais fait un peu différemment, mais...
Ben, montre-moi.
Ah, faut vous montrer.
Oui, allez-y.
Oh.
If you're so good at it, lady, you cook it, okay? Bon. Clive, could you just spare a second, please? We are now going to see a real omelette aux cèpes faite par la maîtresse de cette superbe maison, Madame Moulin. Ladies and gentlemen, I present omelette aux cèpes cooked by Madame Moulin.
Allez, on va recommencer. Voilà.
essential difference there is that she cooked hers on both sides. But that is a sort of, actually, if I may say so, a peasant way of cooking an omelette, because that omelette can be served cold and it's tougher and stronger, could be carried into the fields. The way I made mine was more in line with the way you'd like to have your dinner parties, with a softer, fluffier interior. I won't dispute with her whose was the best. Both had the same good ingredients, two different ways, OK?